Hello everybody and welcome back to United States Cup quarterfinals. We have got Carolina versus Minnesota, seeds 6 versus 19. I'm iFlame, joined today by the one and only Affirm Cheese. How are things going? You ready for some late night USC?
Let's go. Yeah, not only we're playing this match here at 1 UTC, we also got back-to-back matches coming up. So yeah, we got this match and another match at 2 UTC, and the one at 2 UTC that's going to be Connecticut versus Massachusetts. So stay tuned for that one after this match. All right, now we got the 6 seed Carolina and the 19 seed Minnesota here. I believe we are in losers bracket match, so it's do or die time for both these states. And what is this map I hear? Is this a banger alert?
It sounds like
Yuma Musume. Let's go.
Amazing. Oh, it's 3 minutes though. Never mind. Not a banger. Must be under 3 minutes to be a certified banger.
I think I can rock with this one time.
All right, just this one time, never again.
we get a pass on this one. Dude, I do have the.
You can give him a pass.
Yeah,
Carolina got upset by Colorado 5-2, so they're in the losers bracket pretty early for a 6-seeded team.
Yeah, they are. Who they get upset? No. Would it be
Colorado.
upset? Yeah, it would be upset by Ohio. Only in Ohio, I suppose.
Well, no, Carolina lost to Colorado, not Ohio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But Minnesota is outperforming their seed here, as they are in the quarterfinals. Typically, you'll see the 19th seed get eliminated from round of 16, so they're already doing better than what their seed suggests. So we'll see what they can do here. Kind of go back to the rosters here from Carolina. They do have Bochu Cookie, who's also who is Will Cookie, so I think that's a familiar name in the OSU community enough. They're also a streamer here. They're primarily a gimmick player, and they're going to be backed up by Rhythmic RS, Whipperfin 1, Daniel City, Johto, and Zerkala. And from Minnesota, they do have Swick, who is Hot Dog 2000, has not reverted from that one collab a while ago. And then they have Eves, LeBrooklyn James, what the hell is that? Lillian, NQTE, and Yodston. A lot of names I'm quite unfamiliar with, so obviously we know Swick, we know Will Cookie at least the captains from these two teams. So they're probably going to be the higher skill cap players as far as Will Cookie's skill sets go. They're definitely a real good gimmick player, so definitely going to be watching out for that here. Probably going to see that get picked from Carolina quite frequently, and if Minnesota realizes that, then they're probably going to ban a lot of the whatever gimmick maps they can see.
Yeah, I mean, so far, Carolina have looked really good on the DTs especially, and the reading as well. There's the gimmick you mentioned. They've looked, I mean, okay on ult, and they've very much struggled on some of the precision. Now, this pool is very, very mechanics heavy, which I think is pretty good for Carolina. You know, they have solid mechanics players. Minnesota, on the other hand, also have some solid tapping. I mean, not quite as good as Carolina. I think they're going to look to get their points on some of the hiddens. And, I mean, honestly, Minnesota doesn't have any particular skill set that stands out especially. You know, there's not any particular skill set they're terrible at. There's not one particular skill set, maybe outside of the tapping, that they excel on. They're just kind of a solid, well-rounded team. So we will have to see what they can do. As, geez, we still have 3/4 of the warm-up to go. This is a crime.
Well, I think this song's been getting a lot more popular lately with the game getting more popular with the anime girl horse racing, so gotcha game. So I think the audience might like to see this. I don't know. Luckily, the second warm up is only 2 minutes long from Carolina. This is Minnesota's warm up right now.
That's what we like to hear. We're cheering for Carolina then. No bias here. We'd never have bias in the commentator booth. That would be unheard of. Jeez, I'm telling you. I've never been biased in my life.
There's no New Jersey, no New York, no Kansas fly in here, so it's gonna be impossible for me to be any bias.
There you go. Yeah, Carolina has somewhat of an advantage in that their opponents from the first round of losers bracket forfeited, so they didn't actually have to play any of this pool live. So Minnesota has no information on anything Carolina wants to do. I mean, obviously they do have information from previous rounds, but not quite as valuable as knowing the scores your opponent can put up on this current round. Whereas Minnesota, they had a pretty long, grueling 6-4 victory over Kanzuri. So Carolina has a ton of information to work with, and that's going to help give them a ton of direction in terms of picks, in terms of bans. And so, I don't know, pretty decent advantage for Carolina out the gate.
Winding down here on the warm up. Not too much left. None of the other players are really into right slots. Swick and Bochi Cookie are not on the side of Carolina, so obviously this is a little bit of an unserious warm up. Yeah, Bochi Cookie's on the right slot. Swick not so much.
Yep. Yeah, Swick not so much. I feel like Swick does this a lot. It seems to always be on the wrong team for the warm ups. I think I commentated Minnesota last week as well against, I want to say it was Michigan. And yeah, Swick was just in the wrong on the wrong team for the warm-ups. I mean, it's a tradition at this point. Got lots of support from Minnesota.
Yes, the Carolina Liar for Carolina should suit things here.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
CS7
warm-up. AR 8.5.
Yep. Has the state in the name, is a short map, mapped by one of the players on the team. That is a 10 out of 10 USC warm-up. Minnesota, they need to take notes.
I remember last year or a year before, I saw like Colorado would like their warm-up would be the like the hockey teams like kind of like walkout theme music.
Oh yeah.
It'd be like 10 seconds long. That's the stuff I'm looking for at the least.
I completely agree. Oh, we might DT this warm-up. That would be even better.
Ooh. Oh man,
why?
DT
Why?
6.5.25? That's gonna be really hard.
Oh, absolutely, it's gonna be unplayable. But why sit through 2 minutes of warm-ups when you can go through the warm-ups
1 minute.
at double the speed? Exactly. This is some proper. I mean, Carolina are already winning. Let's be honest. Give them a couple of points, jeez.
All right,
I guess
go.
You're not the
Boom,
ref,
boom, boom, boom.
Let's go. That's what I like to see.
Oh my god, DT with CS7. It's cooked. I think it's just an A map, so this might be DT-able.
Yeah, it might actually be. We shall find out in a moment. 1 minute and 22 seconds. Love to see it.
Oh man, yeah, the cross-train jumps on the DT. It's DT-able, but it's so hard to have that mouse control of the CS7 with DT. Yeah, everyone's missing. I think we're giving Emrek some more ideas, actually, for another 2K play. Oh, it has a Carolina slider, what?
I love it. But yeah, I mean, the CS7 might put off a few players from trying to farm this one. I can't imagine. There are very few players that opt into playing CS7 DT farm maps. But, if you're really ambitious, the map is here. I mean, I don't think this map is ranked, to be honest. I could be
Probably
mistaken.
not. Probably not.
I would be very surprised.
Wait, the difficulty is cookout. Oh wait, this was mapped by Will Cookie. I just realized.
Yeah.
It.
He's probably Carolina's captain.
Did he just make this actually for USC?
That is what happens a lot of the time. I don't know if it's the first iteration they've used this warm-up or whether it was used for previous USC, because there are some states that have had the same warm-up that was mapped for them like 3-4 years ago and have been using the same one ever since.
Yeah, this was submitted 10 days ago.
Okay, yeah, so supposedly this was used in 2021, maybe other songs, a different version of the map. Oh, fair enough. Into pick bans, now that warm-ups are over. I have to revert to being unbiased. Minnesota is free. Or are we going to see them go for the second ban? Second pick, all pretty standard stuff. And that means we're going to see Carolina ban first. My guess is that we're probably going to see them banning out one of the precision picks. And they're going to go for No Mod 3. That is the AR5 overlap aim reading. A little bit surprising considering they have looked pretty good on the reading picks in past rounds. But, I mean, this is a pretty different style of rating compared to some of the other No Mod rating maps we've seen. So I guess they're just not comfortable on this one in particular. We now wait for Minnesota's ban. I suspect they're going to want to ban out the DT pool as much as possible. Carolina have been just absolutely phenomenal. They're going to ban out free mod 3 instead. That one is essentially a DT map because it is 240 ppm speed. So obviously you're not going to opt into tapping against Carolina. That's a little bit scary. And it does let them ban out either the DT3 or the DT4, whichever they feel less comfortable on. Let's wait for Carolina's second ban. I could still see precision, but I mean, if they're banning the first rating map, maybe they feel the need to ban the Hidden 2 as well. But honestly, the Hidden 2 isn't that intense in terms of rating. It's more of a rhythmic aim map, and they're going to go for Hard Rock 2, so it's a Hard Rock slider tech map. Interesting bans from Carolina.
All right, second ban from Minnesota now is ABBA now that we're in quarterfinals round. Hard Rock 2, what kind of ban is that? It's not precision, is it?
No, it's a Hard Rock tech. Definitely one of the harder
precision.
maps. I guess Carolina don't feel the most comfortable on the Hard Rock. They do have a lot of pretty solid hidden players. And I mean, it must be I could see DT3 or DT4, both pretty reasonable bans. Anything else would be pretty surprising. And I think if you ban anything else, DT3 and DT4 are getting insta-picked by Carolina, and you just lose 2 points off the bat. But they're taking their time.
Maybe DT4 Night Witches by Panty Dev for their second and final ban, and not quite the bans I would have honestly figured from both these teams. So a little bit sidetracked here of some bans. Don't know what to make of it. And should be first pick from Minnesota. Are we even gonna see mechanics get picked up from Minnesota?
Yeah, I mean, Minnesota has looked pretty solid on the tapping and the hiddens in previous rounds. They've been doing a pretty good job of speed abusing teams. Unfortunately, they've run up against Carolina, who are a very, very good tapping team and have consistently had the better tapping scores compared to Minnesota. And so all of a sudden, Minnesota's primary skill set kind of goes out the window, which does put them in a very rough spot. So I think stylistically, it's a pretty tough matchup for Minnesota, and we're going to have to see how they pivot. They've looked, okay on tech, okay on ult. They've looked pretty good on some of the hiddens, but we've not seen them play a lot of hard rocks either. And so curious to see what direction they're going to want to go. It looks like they are going to opt for the Hard Rock 1, and that will be the awkward aim hard rock map. This is a pretty awkward aim map. You've got some tricky linear aim. You've got, and at the end of the map, you've got your absolutely brutal kind of spam square jumps. There's like 10 squares in a row or something that are absolutely unhittable. So make sure you have a lead into the ending.
As far as players we might see here, I don't think we're really gonna see Will Cookie and really in the Hard Rocks, to be quite honest. I imagine we're for sure gonna see Swick. Yeah, we do see him in the number 4 slot there, the top slot there for Minnesota. Gonna be seeing Lillian on a lot of the Hard Rocks for sure as their 3rd player. Not too sure who to go with here because I don't really know the other players. But for Carolina, I think Rhythmic might come in here. We do see Zerkala kind of just chilling in the Carolina slot there. We'll see if he stays in or not, or just lobby sitting.
Yeah, Wooper is the Hard Rock player for Carolina, takes Hard Rock on the Fremont, so makes sense. The Wooper's going to be their go-to for Carolina. And from what I remember of Minnesota, they tend to run Swick and Brooklyn James on quite a lot of maps with the other players rotating, but Lillian does play a lot as well, so I think these 3 are the players they play most often, and Carolina are an unsurprising lineup of Wooper, Rhythmic, and Zerkala. So here we go into the Hard Rock 1, first map of the match. Now this one, despite being 3.5 minutes, is not super consistent in terms of difficulty. The map really ramps up as you get farther and farther into the map. So you would really love to get the combo advantage and the score advantage really out of the gate. Like it's going to be pretty tough to make up into the last quarter of the map especially.
Alrighty, first map finally underway here between Carolina and Minnesota. Around 15 minutes past the start time. And now we're finally getting some real tournament OSU gameplay. And right now, everyone hits the opening patterns quite easily. Zerkala kind of struggling on the accuracy there a little bit, along with Swick there. But all in all, it's going to be overall advantage for Minnesota. But Zerkala is there regaining their lost accuracy. And with a map like this, it's definitely going to be more of a combo game than anything. This is kind of consistent, 3 minutes, 28 seconds. And yeah, about to get into the first guy here real soon. But yeah, right now 6 FC is going to remain on the board, 350 combo in. Zerkala and Lillian, of all people, are going to be the first ones to find the break. Those are traded breaks, are not going to tip the scales here, but a break from Brooklyn James is going to tip the scales towards Carolina, and they're going to see themselves with the early combo and score lead here, 12K and growing.
Absolutely, into the break, they're going to see the situation, and honestly, both teams should feel pretty good. Obviously, Minnesota on the back foot, but they're far from out of it yet. All it takes is one more miss from either of the 2 full combos on Carolina, and they're right back in it. Svick is absolutely the kind of player that can hold this combo, but we've got a bit of an easier section right here, but the end of this map is very tricky. It is sure to claim quite a few combos. I don't think I see anyone hit the squares at the end yet. So if we see, one player on either side of seeing towards the end, could very well come down to those square patterns. But we've got another tricky section coming up very shortly, and there's a lot of pressure on Swick. Any miss from Swick would be the end. Brooklyn James does find the miss, and that's going to cost Minnesota as well. They can't really afford to drop supporting combos. There goes Swick. Lillian, it's a full reset from Minnesota. Carolina hold on to their full combos, and this is going to be a guaranteed point for Carolina. Wooper fan does drop, as does Rhythmic, but with Zerkala holding, the damage has been done, and this is going to be a very early break point for Carolina.
Yeah, very unfortunate showing here from Minnesota. It will be given Carolina the breakpoint advantage here early on. Luckily, it is best out of 11, so those early breakpoints hopefully shouldn't be too impactful as long as Minnesota can make up for it at a later time in the match. But yeah, they're gonna have to take this one on the chin and yeah, just get over it right after the map is over. And yeah, more breaks coming out of Minnesota. There's really no big combos on the board whatsoever. Highest combo right now is Wooper Fan 1 with 160. Yeah, it's just the type of map this is.
Squares. The squares have arrived. Let's see if anyone can hit the squares. I saw one player in the last match I commentated. Almost hit the squares, but fell apart at the end. We'll see if anyone can hit them this time around. Here we go. Whole lobby has fallen already. Only Zerkala and Swick actually still going. Ah, there you go. We got Swick and Zerkala. Hit not all of the squares, but the last few. And Carolina are going to feel very good about that one. They've got the next pick. I think they know exactly where they want to go. Probably the DT3. I mean, even something like the DT1 and the DT2, I think are going to be good for Carolina. They've kind of been popping off on all of the DT maps so far, not just the speed. So I think they've got a lot of obvious picks. Minnesota, meanwhile, they're probably going to have to change directions. I mean, the Hard Rock, I think, was a good shout. Carolina have not really played much Hard Rock in this tournament. And so Minnesota trying to exploit that weakness. But Carolina, not a team to be pushed around easily. And so Minnesota going to have to pivot if they want to find any points here.
All right. Sorry, I'm gonna try to fix the client here so that the names aren't so big.
You don't love the giant Brooklyn James, or in this case, E. Brooklyn James.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I should have fixed that a long time ago. Just gonna restart the client here real quick.
Big text for a big tournament. You know, that's how it goes. Next, OWC, we're gonna have the names taken up like half the screen at least, at a minimum.
Ah, yes, much better. You can't see it, but it's much better, I think.
I just erased the names completely. Yeah, okay, we'll see it in a second. They're gonna go for Fremont 2. Carolina, I'm gonna be honest, are full of surprises today in terms of both their picks and their bans, but I guess it does make sense. They won the Hard Rock 1, so they're just going to opt into another awkward aim map. This one has some pretty high spacing patterns, but is a little bit less awkward than Hard Rock 1. But yeah, Carolina have looked really good on the Fremonts as well. You have Wooper, who can play the Hard Rock. They have, honestly, so many players that are capable of playing the Hidden. Johto and Bochi have both taken it. I think on an awkward aim map, a lot more likely we do see Bochi Cookie or Will Cookie in for this one. And they're always able to fill the last player. Oftentimes it is just rhythmic on the Nomad, and I expect that to be the case here. Minnesota usually run Swick on the Hard Rock, Mate on the Hidden, and they let LeBrooklyn James play the Nomad. And wow, we can actually see the full LeBrooklyn James. This is wild.
Yeah, there it is in all its glory. LeBrooklyn James. Of course, we're going to have a Whooper come in here for Carolina on the Hard Rock. I'm guessing Will Cookie goes Hidden here for sure.
Yeah.
With
yeah,
probably going to go Nomad. I can see the Overmod on this type of map, though. But yeah, Swick is definitely going to be on Hard Rock for sure.
And at this stage of the tournament, I'd be very surprised. Rhythmic is a comfortable Hidden player, but Carolina's not opted to overmod any of the other free mods in this tournament, so would be surprised to see them start now. We have seen Daniel take an easy, but not in the lobby, unfortunately, and expected mods from both teams as we get into some more slightly awkward aim this time with optional mods. Let's see if Carolina can consolidate this breakpoint. And this one is a lot more consistent in terms of difficulty compared to the Hard Rock 1, so both players are going to be able to build up some bigger combos, and you know, there's no like crazy unhittable spike at the end, so plenty of time to come back if you can hold that combo into the ending early on. All players looking pretty good. This is not the kind of map we usually see big accuracy drops, and it's good to see both of our Hard Rock players doing well. Wooper had the 4th best score tournament-wide on the Fremont 2 last week with Hard Rock, so player that is very capable of nailing these free mods with the Hard Rock. As I say that, has found the first miss. Should not have said anything, and there's a pretty easy section. We're coming up on the next key eye, so Carolina going to be hoping for a miss on this next set of tricky jumps.
All right, kind of the exact same opening as the last map, except Wooper did find a break here early on, and everyone else is FCing, so it is a oh no, did Swick get booted?
Oh no. Well, it was. I don't know. This is a really close one. Whooper finds another miss, as does Mate. I don't know what the rules are here. Looks like okay, it was uh
Just
hopefully just a
Bancho
client issue.
replay. Okay. We
Bancho.
missed
Okay,
like
it is
half the
Bancho. Spick is still in the
map.
lobby. It's okay. It's 31,000 points. This is still an incredibly close one. It's 2 FCs to 2, with Whooper Fan and Mate battling it out with the supporting combos. And I mean, we're not going to see 4 FCs on this map. There's some more very tough drops coming up, and so it all comes down to which is the next FC to drop. That's going to swing the score instantly. Whooper Fan finds the next miss again. I mean, these supporting combos do matter because all other combo is identical, and right now, Mate has the advantage. Everybody on both teams. Alien jumps Brooklyn. James a big miss. Okay, but it's traded by Bochi Cookie. That's going to even things out. And Minnesota going to hold on to this lead, looking to get the breakpoint back. It's a battle of Swick up against Rhythmic RS. Whooperfan finds another miss. This one traded back by Mate. That's going to even out the combos, but even combos are not good enough. Rhythmic RS with a big miss for Carolina. Now Swick has a chance to close this one out. And even if Swick does miss later on in this map, Carolina just might not have the recovery combos, but Swick cannot be stopped. This is a pretty tricky ending. Swick does find the miss, but do Carolina have the time? Do they have the combo? We're going to need to see more misses from LeBlanc and James, and we find them, but we probably need to see misses from Mate as well. Quickly running out of time. Will Cookie does find the miss, and I think Carolina are going to run out of time unless we see a massive meltdown into the ending. You're going to need to see like chain misses from at least 2 players.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to see the Hard Rock outperform the Nomad player here. Rhythmic RS was actually holding SS up until the miss, but there's no more combat aside Minnesota, and there might be enough time for Carolina if it's dense enough. There's a break from Rhythmic RS, and well, okay, I think that will do them in right there. Whooper and Rhythmic had to hold their combos for a chance, but yeah, they're not close enough for a spin to win. And we're gonna go back-to-back breakpoints here. Minnesota winning this one out after giving up the breakpoint to Carolina on the Hard Rock map. They get theirs back, and now we're all tied up 1-1. No breakpoint advantage for either of these states, and we're gonna see what Minnesota is gonna be picking into next as going into the second pick. Hopefully, no more breakpoints from here on out. Potentially for Minnesota, you know they are going against Carolina, the kind of the higher skill cap team, so. I don't think they're gonna have the opportunity to give up another breakpoint here.
Yeah, certainly hope not. But I mean, it's one awkward aim map to one. There is more aim in this pool. You know, you do have the Nomad one, which is chicken funny, of course. Hard to describe that map, but an incredibly awkward, mostly aim map. That is an option. So. There is also then the DT1, which is pretty awkward, and so those could definitely be toss-ups. We'll see what Minnesota opts to next. I don't dislike the Hard Rock. Actually, the Hard Rock 3 should look good for them if they can nail the CS 7.8. Obviously, a little bit scary, but Carolina have really struggled on their precision so far this tournament, so feel like could be a solid show from Minnesota. They could also, you know, again, opt back into the aim, although I think Nomad 1 or DT1 against Carolina would be a mistake, and we could very possibly see another breakpoint. We will have to see.
See, indeed. More aim is kind of tricky. Definitely coin flippy in this match, as we've seen back-to-back breakpoints on the aim map. So whoever picks the aim seems to be destined to lose it, but looks like we're going to be shying away from the aim, going to DT3, Death Moon 2. This is like just an old map.
DT3? I feel so lost. I don't know what these teams are doing.
This is a Carolina map, no?
That's what I thought. I mean, I really thought. I mean, okay, don't get me wrong. Minnesota is a very solid tapping team, but I mean, now stats aren't everything. Maps change a fair bit, and this is definitely more finger control heavy compared to you know, the DT3. But you go back to last week's stats and you look at the DTs, and Carolina right up at the top, 3rd place on the DT2. They were 2nd place overall on the DT3. I mean, Rhythmic RS especially has been very, very dominant on the DT picks, as seen both of them last week. And I mean, Minnesota, sorry, are nowhere to be seen on either of those leaderboards. So, yeah, the picks have been a little bit baffling so far, but I've doubted teams before and they've proved me wrong. So, Minnesota are going to have the chance to prove me wrong here, as skeptical as I may be, but I think we could be seeing a third breakpoint in a row. Now, obviously, Swick, very good speed player, but you need one person to keep up with Rhythmic RS, who has been absolutely flawless on these picks. And this one is 225 BPM, so a little more manageable, but also means Carolina can be pretty consistent with their speed roster.
Hey, is this a speed map? Really? I thought it was just a grid cell A map. Tapping. Yeah, that's what I figured. Yeah, map from 2009. Yeah, I'd imagine.
Yeah. And it's definitely not aim for this one. It is like finger control tapping, a lot of zigzag in control patterns as well mixed in, all at 225 BPM. So there's like tons of triples, doubles mixed in with 7-note and 5-note bursts. So you have to be very, very conscious of your tapping, and that can definitely wear on players' stamina, wear on players' mental. You do have some layer aim, but it's relatively easy compared to the difficulty of the tapping. So we'll see. Keep an eye on the accuracies as well. That is the one area where Carolina did struggle on these DT picks, is that Wooperfan and Johto, despite putting up very good scores, did have a bit of a tougher time on the accuracy. Already we've got 3 misses, 2 for Minnesota, 1 for Carolina, and we're yet to get into the real tricky part of the map. We're getting to the much more bursty section now, and the map only gets harder from here. We're yet to get into the wiggles, but Rhythmic RS doing as expected. Wooperfan finds the miss, and it's Rhythmic RS facing off against Swick. Mate and Wooperfan are going to continue to trade, but Johto has not found the recovery either. Lillian has, so Minnesota, I mean, they should have an advantage based off of combo, but in terms of accuracy, they're pretty far behind. It's a full reset, though, from Carolina. Now Minnesota going to flip this one back, and Swick is honestly going to be able to do this one alone. Lillian has the support, but not really needed. As long as Swick full combos this, there's not really anything Carolina can do. Swick at the break is going to see, knows that he has a chance to put this one in the bag, and I might just have to eat my words, geez. We'll find out shortly.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of a slower section here gives Swick a better opportunity to grow some more score lead here. But about to get to the last patterns here. There's a break from Lillian. She has less of a comfort zone there, but Mate is there for the backup. 600 combo combined for Carolina, but Swick still has 700, so he still has the okay, it's a 400k score that I just looked down and saw how big the gap was. So yeah, this is just going to be a point for Minnesota. And it looks like the only reason Minnesota picked in this map was because of Swick, obviously.
Yeah.
Again, I felt like this one totally read on the side of Swick FC in this, and it did go out quite magnificent for them. Obviously, if Swick had an FC, it would be a different story for sure.
Yep. I mean, I'll have to rescind everything I said about these two teams and their tapping. I mean, I guess it's pretty good if Swick can just full combo the map. We're just going to pretend nothing was ever said. Minnesota, go to tapping team. Delete the VOD.
We always believed in them. We always believed in Minnesota.
Oh, of course. There was never any doubt that Minnesota were the superior tapping team in this match. Hence why they banned out Speed, Fremont 2, and TT4. Or sorry, Fremont 3. Nothing makes sense today, geez. Is there any point trying to break this next map? Look, I'm gonna take a guess. All right, and I'm gonna say that Carolina are gonna want the DT1.
Yeah, that's fine. They will very quickly
pick something completely different. Like, I don't know. Watch, they're gonna pick like
5.
Nomad 5 or Nomad 2.
Yeah, totally unexpected. Playboy Cardi at the least.
Yeah, but they're picking the air raid hidden map after banning out the Nomad rating. Now, mind you, this is more of a awkward rhythmic aim map. It's AR8, but honestly, the rating isn't too difficult as long as you've practiced the map. The AR8 isn't a huge deal, so it is kind of understandable. As much as I like to joke about the rating, this map is technically rating, but much more about the aim. It also has random 250, I want to say it's 252 BPM, if I know my math correctly, bursts players have to watch out for. And only 500 max combo, so even as early as 50 combo into the map, you really can't afford misses. Every single miss could be pretty impactful.
And 500 combo, max combo, it's pretty much equivalent to a TV size map, although this one is 232 seconds. It's just not a dense map whatsoever, so
No.
yeah, no, can't really afford any misses anywhere throughout the map. No, none less than halfway through the map. But yeah, definitely gonna be seeing Cookie in here, and really Lillian in here on the hidden too. Not what I would expect here, and it's not really too much of any roster changes between really any of these states. So it's kind of interesting actually seeing Lillian hang around here. I don't know. Can they play AR8 hidden? I'm not too sure. I always saw them as a Hard Rock player, so.
I mean, I don't know about Arian specifically, but Lillian has played quite a few of the Hiddens for Minnesota and has looked relatively good on them. So definitely no slouch on the Hiddens. Obviously, the IR8 Hidden is potentially another question, but honestly, I think should look pretty solid on this kind of a map. Mate, obviously going to be the key player for Minnesota, is kind of their dedicated hitting / reading player. Of course, Carolina are quite stacked on the hit-ins between Will Cookie and Rhythmic RS. Wooperfan, not too shabby either, but yeah, this one, not a lot of combos, so keep an eye on those early misses, and keep an eye on the bursts as well. We'll see if those claim any combos, as we get a very exciting start to the map.
Very exciting indeed. And those are the 200 BPM bursts you were talking about there, and looks like it's going to catch up Lillian and Nate alike. And there goes Swick, and yeah, Minnesota just does, and Will Cookie of all people is going to find the trade there, but 2 FCs versus none favoring Carolina, and got very significant, not as significant active advantage as I thought. Mate does have the 99% highest in the lobby, but it's already a very big swirly for Carolina, 100k, and we're already a third into the map. Keep in mind, it's not too much combo here, so we're already past the halfway point in terms of combo.
Yeah, and I mean, the map doesn't get any faster. There's, as I said, not a lot of combo left to be gained. It is going to be misses from Lillian once again, but Will Cookie is on a pretty nice recovery. I guess it's slightly longer than 500 combo. The showcase must have had a first choke for the replay or something along those lines. It's going to be looking closer to 700 or something like that. But Carolina have pushed this lead to 200,000 points, and they're looking pretty good to close this one out. I mean, Mate and Spick are on solid recoveries, so ready to capitalize, but Carolina are just not giving up the misses that Minnesota needs.
And there's a break from Wilper there. There goes the one of the FCs from Carolina. Rhythmic RS still with the FC. There's significant recovery from Minnesota on both Mate and Swick. Luckily, Will Cookie is there to kind of hold it down, but we're already towards the end of the map, so there's no chance of comeback here for Minnesota. It looks like Carolina will be winning their second pick here. They'll be equalizing the score once again 2-2, and it's gonna be Minnesota's next pick. And I'm curious if we're gonna see another mechanics map, if there's any more left.
Yeah, I mean, this map pool is full of mechanics of various kinds. A lot of it is aim, a lot of it is aim control, but interestingly enough, you know, as good as they looked on the DT3, after seeing that, you'd usually go, well, they look great. Pick the rest of the tapping, but geez, they fanned out the rest of the tapping themselves, so that's not going to be an option. You know, they're going to have to switch things up. You know, if they want something that is tapping but not quite speed, they do have the free mod 1, which is a 200 BPM stream consistency pick, so that could potentially be a good option for them as well. We could definitely see them switch it up here. We have yet to see either team really opt into the alt or the aim control. Both teams have looked decent on the skill set, so that could be pretty coin flippy, but something like the HR3 I feel like would be solid still for Minnesota, or the free mod 1.
Great one potential, I think. I know we said Carolina might pick DT1, but I have a feeling Minnesota might also pick DT1
Good, yeah.
for some
I mean, it's
for some reason, and they do pick the
okay.
DT1.
Now, what are the odds that they pick DT1 solely because Swick can FC it? Just like we saw with the DT3. I mean, very possible, and honestly, if you can put up one FC on this map, that's going to go a long ways, but this is a much more comfortable map than the DT3. This is going to be your 240 BPM aim. It is still slightly awkward, but this one is very spiky into the KIs. You also have a couple of random 240 BPM streams, but we didn't see those catch anyone out on the hidden pick. But I do really feel like this one could go either way. Carolina has looked really good on the DTs in the past, but even though the DT3 didn't work out for them, it was largely because of the FC on Swick. So I think Swick is going to need to pull out another very, very strong combo in order to guarantee this point.
Pretty short map. It's gonna be around 2 minutes long. But yeah, will be kind of fast. Same, it is gonna be around the 250, 240-ish BPM side of things. And luckily, it's only gonna be AR 9.3, so it's not gonna be like a reading gap there. So I think all in all, it should be, I think, kind of a comfortable aim map here, all things considering stats wise.
Yeah, looks like we're just waiting for the rosters to fill out. Rhythmic, the last player for Carolina. Of course, you're never not going to see Swick in the lobby for Minnesota. They do bring Zerkala back in, interestingly enough. I believe it was only in for the Hard Rock 1, which was the very first map of this match. And this TT1, pretty short, lots of places to miss, but also a lot more comfortable compared to some of the other maps we've seen. So potential for some very high combos, some very high scores on a map like this one.
Yeah, I expect this probably come down to the wire here. I think we got a lot of pretty good aim players here, so this could come down to accuracy at the end of things. But speaking of accuracy, LeBrooklyn James kind of struggling here in the beginning. 93 AC. They're slowly recovering, but yeah, it's going to be the first break from Lillian, though. No trade so far from Carolina, so this probably won't come down to accuracy as I expected. So Minnesota will be down in combo and accuracy at that, too. Rhythmic RS still with a pretty solid comment. There goes a break from LeBrooklyn James, and it is not looking good so far for Minnesota. Already 2 breaks around the halfway point, and it's going to heavily cap LeBrooklyn James's score. Another break coming from him as well, and still a triple FC for the side of Carolina. And yeah, it looks like Minnesota just straight up just muffed this one here. I think they're trying to rely too much on Swick to carry them on the DT like DT3, but that is not going to be the case here. And yeah, all the FCs make it through the stream section. LeBrooklyn James Lillian did not survive once again, and yeah, it's just going to be potential 3 mil score coming out of Carolina here.
Yeah, Minnesota put all their eggs in the Swick basket, and it didn't work out. And this is more what I was expecting to see on the DT3, where Carolina are so good at these DT picks, and things are starting to make a little bit of sense again, as they're still holding 3 FCs strong. Regardless of whether we do see them close out a triple FC, this is going to be an absolutely absurd team score. There goes Swick as well. I mean, we do see a miss out of Zerkala, but Carolina have done more than enough, and this is going to be the biggest score gap we have seen all match, 1.5 million. I think it's safe to say that was a bit of a mispick from Minnesota.
Yeah, for sure. Got 2 S ranks mixed in with the A rank there, still getting the 3 mil score. Definitely going to be a very high score for the weekend for sure. You can see other teams probably going to triple FC though, so I don't think it's going to be the top score of the weekend, but definitely one that's going to contend with a lot of others. And yeah, this is I'd say this is definitely just more than a low roll here. I think they just could not compete on this type of
Yeah.
DT map.
Yeah, I mean, there's not many teams that are beating that score, and I mean, I have to reiterate one more time, that's not new. It shouldn't be news particular. I mean, it's an insane score, but Carolina had some similarly good scores last week, and gonna do the same. Now, Carolina looking to consolidate this breakpoint, have the next pick. I mean, there is a DT2 open, but it is an alt DT, so very different style, and just kind of a consistency pick in a sense. They could look back towards the hiddens. They do have a very strong hidden roster, and we've yet to see them touch the hidden tech or even the. I mean, I don't think they're going to touch the hidden 3. That's just a precision map, which Carolina has not looked good on. But you know, I could see them potentially opt for something like. Maybe they could see something like a free mod 4. It is really tough to say. A lot of the no mod pool is still open as well, but there's a lot of aim control alt in the no mod pool. I mean, the aim has been picked. You have 2 aim control picks in the no mod 2, the no mod 5. Sorry, the no mod 4 is kind of the last aim consistency map. And then obviously that no mod 1 is just, it is aim, but it's a little bit ridiculous. Actually, I could definitely see the no mod 1 and the no mod 4 as well. Okay, we're going to get no mod 5 instead, so nice to see Carolina changing it up. We're going to get the flow aim alt pick. And this map is another one of those maps that really picks up in difficulty towards the end. Those flow aim patterns get absolutely brutal, so it is vital to hold on to your early combos. And this map is going to be very telling. There's an absurd amount of aim control in this pool. And I think there's like something like three more aim control maps left over. So if Carolina can find a victory on this map, it's going to give them a lot, especially if it's decisive, it's going to give them so much direction going forward. They can just pick aim control into more aim control. But same applies to Minnesota. If you find an upset, then all of a sudden you have a lot of extra maps in your pocket. So this one's going to be a pretty pivotal point for both teams.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely gonna be a tough one here. It's 320 BPM. Obviously, no one's tapping that. It's a ulti tapping type map. It's also AR10, so it could be a potential reading gap there, potentially. And it's also consistency at 4 minutes long. So I know players like Swick are really good at these types of flow aim, finger control type maps. So Carolina's definitely gotta keep the eye out for that one going into this map, but. We'll see how the others suffice on here. And yeah, no substitution so far from Carolina. I don't know if the other players aren't present or just the core 3 that are just never going to change out.
Yeah, I mean, we have seen Zerkala. We have seen both the Zerkala and Johto. I think Zerkala on 2 maps and Johto on 1. So definitely more. This is definitely their core 3, but you know, they've had the fill players in here and there. I think Daniel didn't play much last week either, so yeah, possibly just not around or not comfortable on many of these maps. But here we go into the no mod 5. We already see the kind of map this is, and I mean, it really is very consistent up until the last Ki, where there's a decent spike in difficulty, as we're going to see the first couple misses out of Minnesota. Swick and Brooklyn James dropping accuracy. Generally not a huge factor on this map, but Swick and LeBrooklyn James both struggling on the accuracy a little bit. I do expect that to recover as we get later into the map, and there's going to be plenty of time for combo misses, but if you can nail these patterns comfortably, you're going to have a chance to, at the very least, put up a really solid combo. And we see pretty much everybody on Carolina looking incredibly comfortable on the pick so far. Rhythmic RS over aims the jump section. This is a bit of an easier section for most teams, so that miss is going to hurt them a fair bit. Give Minnesota an opening back into this map, and here we go into the first Ki, tricky set of alt patterns. There's going to be Swick following up with another miss. We do still have a couple of SSs on Wooperfan and Mate, and Mate unfortunately does find the miss. No FCs left on Minnesota. Well, Brooklyn James does have the recovery, but not going to be enough to match Wooperfan. Thankfully for Minnesota, Will Cookie is going to find the next miss, and It's going to be a score lead of 50,000. Now, it doesn't sound like a lot, but a map this long, it's actually a pretty substantial score lead. So Minnesota have their work cut out for them going to the rest of the map, but so much time left over. Plenty of time for a comeback.
Does that say pedo MVP? What is Swick writing here on the board there? I don't know if we could show that on Twitch, but yeah, it's all up to Brooklyn and James to kind of hopefully hold out. Okay, not to cast their curse. My bad, dog. Yeah, so yeah, all up to Whooper fan here to continue on the onslaught here for Carolina, along with pretty good supporting comp for Rhythmic RS, and there is Swick and Mate there with the recovery, but it's not. It's gonna be one of them matched by Will Cookie, so really not much Minnesota could do. Gonna have to see break on Whooper fan here to have a chance for Minnesota. But we are getting to the next Ki here. But the thing with the Ki's is that they're all quite similar, so if you're able to hit the other Ki's, you can pretty much hit a lot of the Ki's here. That's just how these 4-bit consistency maps play out. And we do see the break from Rhythmic RS, but it will be traded by Swig. So there's really no more breathing room from Minnesota here. And yeah, it's still hoping for the Whooper fan 1 drop, but even if that does happen, Will Cookie's there matching the combo of Mate. So it's, oh, okay, there goes the break from me. I know we're a third of the map in and map left in a 4-minute map. I think with a 300k score lead, I think that's just going to be it's going to be the point.
Whooper fan has never missed on this map before, not a single time. The map does really pick up in difficulty, but I mean, look at that, Chase. What did I tell you? Whooper fan has never missed these in his life. This is flawless gameplay, and I mean, Minnesota are out of this one. This is going to be a breakpoint consolidated, a pretty big score gap, and pretty much entirely off the back of Whooper fan. Now it's a question of, do we see the FC? I mean, at this point, certainly feels like a possibility. Swick with some combo, but it's not going to be relevant whatsoever. And the Whooper fan is on fire right now, does finally find the slider break. Oh, and the miss right after. So not going to be getting the S strength, but a very, very good score nonetheless.
Yeah, that's just a crazy performance. How someone can be that consistent on a map like this. Definitely a hard map to FC, especially with that map combo in here. But yeah, he will unfortunately be finding the break, but you know, when you get an 800k score on a map like this, yeah, it's gonna be really hard to compete with, and I'm not too sure if that's gonna be the top score of the weekend, but you can see it being a good second or third. And yeah, Carolina consolidation there, starting to be a little bit more dangerous for Minnesota now that we're kind of getting towards the end of the match here. Carolina only need 2 more left. Minnesota is gonna have to get a breakpoint back here, yeah, real soon, and preferably on Carolina's next pick. Obviously, they cannot give up any more breakpoints at this point in the match, so they're gonna have to be a lot more careful with their picks. And I think Fremont 1 might be the move here for Minnesota, potentially on the mechanics.
Yeah, I really like the Fremont one as a pick for them. Now they could send it and go for the DT4. Oh no, not the DT4, sorry, the DT2. Would be pretty wild, especially after that dominant performance on Carolina from Whooper fan, but it would be a banger. You know, it would make for some good content. There's also the Hidden 3, which I think would be a pretty good pick for them. Try and abuse that precision that Carolina has struggled with so often in this tournament.
All right. I'm thinking, I don't want to get ahead of myself. I'm looking at the diff name for TB and it says marathon. Is this like a 10-minute, 15-minute map?
It's 12.5 minutes. No, it's actually the shortest one we've had so far. Only 6 minutes and 15 seconds, which is quite the relief compared to our last 2 tiebreakers. Despite the diff name, it's yeah, only like half the length of last week's tiebreaker. They're going to go for Hard Rock 3. This is going to be your precision hard rock. I think this is a great pick for Minnesota, and especially when you have a player like Swick, who's so good at this precision. And as you mentioned, Lillian, a very good Hard Rock player as well. So I do think Minnesota should be favored on this one. This is also a 2009 map. You know, we need more 2009 maps in the pool. Usually, Dota gives us
Yeah.
one. This week, we've been spoiled with two maps from 2009. You know, by the end of the tournament, I'd like to see at least one pool with 3 2009 maps. That would be a dream come true.
That might be
So,
given too much advantage to certain teams, to be
you
quite
know,
honest.
go tweet at Dota, request more 2009 maps. It would be greatly appreciated. I'm sure Dota would not be upset at all.
And unfortunately, this is not the Camellia Upart song. This is, well, I'd never heard these artists before. Tanaka Matsuda, so, yeah, kind of a letdown there, but I don't think we won a 6-minute tiebreaker map in a Hard Rock 3 slot. All right. And I forgot, it's a 2009 map, so Laser didn't want to auto-pick it for me. Anything before 2012, Laser does not like it, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, Laser's not a fan of lots of things, sometimes at random. This is don't know, let me double check. Oh, don't know off the top of my head. I think this is a relatively short map, 2 minutes and 34 seconds, so not super dense either, so there's not a ton of opportunity for combo. We do see this classic 2009 grid mapping as Use finds the first miss, and it's really not having a good time. Down below 90% accuracy. Carolina do have a slight edge in accuracy, but honestly, Zerkala down at 91 is not helping them out, and now Zerkala does find the miss, so things are going to be pretty even to start this one out. This map doesn't get too much harder, but there does have definitely some tricky aim patterns.
Yep. Right now, it looks like combo lead for Minnesota because of the break from Zerkala. And yeah, that score bar will be flickering back and forth here because it doesn't know who wants to give the lead. But it looks like we do find a break from Lillian, which is kind of unfortunate. They needed that combo to hold the lead here. But still, 7K score difference. So definitely anyone's map here. The third of the way and 2/3 left to go. We do have 3 FCs on board, 2 of them on the side of Carolina. That's going to be an unfortunate break from Eves, but a huge trade from Carolina with one of the FCs dropping on Whooper fan. So it is a match between Will Cookie and Swick here, Hot Dog 2000. And all the supporting combos are falling off. Right now, it's slightly better supporting combo on the side of Carolina. And accuracies on the FCs are quite identical. There's a huge break from Will Cookie. And it's all going to be all up to Swick here to hold on to the FC here. It is a 40K difference, so it's not like Swick can just break here immediately. He's going to have to hold down here for just a little bit while.
Yeah, at the end of this map, though, not that much harder than the rest of it. Swick is very, very capable of comboing this. Just has to find that consistency, make sure the nerves don't claim that combo. We see a full reset on the side of Carolina. The score flip backs over. Even if Swick misses now, Carolina might not have the combo to find the recovery, but the longer Swick can hold, the better. As this combo showing no signs of slowing down. We do see a miss from Lillian, but immediately traded by Whooperfan. And really, as long as the combo remains on Swick, nothing else matters. And 130,000 points is a lot on this map. We may very well... Okay, that's a miss from Will Cookie. That is going to do it in Minnesota. Going to get their point back, doing well to pick the precision, and now have the option of Hidden 3, the other precision map in the pool.
And yeah, I mean, yeah, it's already decided here, and it looks like Swick will begin the FC here. I don't see him missing on these latest patterns unless he totally just drops the pen there, or the mouse. And yeah, and the one map that Eves comes in, you know, they do win the map. So maybe that's a sign that we should put Eves in more often for Minnesota. I don't know. And yeah, 3rd point on the board for Minnesota. This was their pick, so it's not like there's really any advantage gained here from this Hard Rock 3 win. They still have to get back a breakpoint and consolidate it. And if they do that, they should be able to take Carolina tiebreaker. We'll see what happens with Carolina's next pick.
Yeah, I mean, they do still need a break point at some point, so they're not out of the woods quite yet, but they've shown that they're here to compete. They're not going to roll over easily, and assuming they can win their next pick, they're at the very least going to have a shot at the tiebreaker. Carolina has one more pick left in this match, I believe. Oh no, it should be 2 picks left for Carolina. Minnesota just needs to win one of them, but Carolina do still have options. I think the Nomad 4 could genuinely be a good pick for them as coin flip as that map feels. But there's also the risk that Swick just pops off and carries the map. So it doesn't feel like there's any guarantees left in the pool for Carolina. Now, given how good the Nomad 5 went, I do think they just go back to alts, go back to aim control. And that's exactly good what they're going to do with the DT2. Mind you, this one, a lot less the aim control alt, much more snappy alt. There are some pretty tricky star jumps that claim a bunch of combos, and there's some absolutely absurd aim control patterns kind of thrown in randomly. I think there's like one around the halfway mark of the map, one about 3/4 of the way in that 9 times out of 10 decimate at least half the lobby. So those are going to be the ones to watch out for as Minnesota. I think they have a tough road ahead of them, but if they don't get the break point here, they're only going to have one more chance. So they could, if they can get it here, it would take a lot of stress off their backs.
For sure, yeah, if they get the breakpoint here and consolidate, that should put a lot of pressure off them. That means Carolina will have to win to take Minnesota tiebreaker, but that's only happens if they get the breakpoint here. If not, their backs will be against the wall of Carolina at the breakpoint. So see what happens here. DT2 obviously very Carolina favored here with the alt frame control type map. So they've been looking pretty solid on that this match, and see how if they can continue on the alt onslaught here with this DT2. I know you can't see the map stats, but it is a quite a lengthy map. It's 5 minutes 20 seconds before DT apply. I think after DT apply, it puts it around 3:30, maybe 3:45, yep. And it's gonna be just around 200 BPM, and yeah, pretty standard, and it's gonna be AR 9.3, so it's gonna be pretty easy to read the notes.
Yeah, this one, I mean, despite its length, very much not a consistency test. It all comes down to who can hit those absolutely brutal aim control patterns. So the map does feel a bit RNG at points in that sense, but I mean, The Unforgiving is a classic. How could you not sneak it into at least one USC pool? Of course, not the 50-minute version. I think we have a few players unhappy about that, but Snap does really take a little bit to pick up. Until we get into those star jumps, everybody should have a very easy time. Really shouldn't see any big accuracy drops or misses. But the star jumps are coming up in, I want to say, 15 seconds time.
Right now it's an accolade for Minnesota, which is quite interesting since they've kind of been lacking in accuracy a lot of this match, but it's going to be the first time they hold the accolade here. But we'll see what happens if they can hold on to the combo also. And everyone hits a big hard alt pattern there, so things are looking up for Minnesota for a potential win here. It's kind of a lengthier map, but we'll see what happens here. All 6 FCs remain on board. Still an accolade for Minnesota. Do see Eves in here once again, which seems to be a sound strategy. There goes a trade from Wilperfan and Lily on the exact same object. And with that considering, there goes Zerkala, and there goes Eves. It's Swick versus Rhythmic RS, and we do know Swick is really good at these types of maps, so we'll see what happens. And there goes Rhythmic RS, and Swick still holds on. This looks like a pretty solid breakpoint so far for Minnesota. I don't want to get ahead of myself yet because it's still half of the map left, but it's 150 score lead, which isn't all too much for DT maps. But we'll see. Halfway through, Swick still with the FC, only FC in the lobby. Still better supporting combo 2 on Lily and Eves. There goes Swick, but it's still not any combo on the side of Carolina to compete with Lillian so far, so they should be able to hold on to the combo lead. And I think they also hold on to the act lead also with Wolper adding 95%.
Yeah, looking incredibly good. I mean, the accuracy is absurd for Minnesota. They built up a 50,000 point lead just off of accuracy, which is unheard of on this kind of map where accuracy is usually not a factor. Now they've got the combo advantage as well, not by much, but with about a 200,000 point buffer, that's going to be more than enough. And although we have a quarter of the map to go, you do have one more pretty brutal aim control pattern. And if you don't see all three Carolina players get through that pattern and at least two Minnesota players miss, they're just going to be too far out of it with too little time remaining. This is a pretty free combo section. That's going to be really nice for Minnesota. Here we go into the last really tricky section of the map. Lillian finds the miss, but traded back by Whipperfan. Rhythmic RS and Zerkata need to hold now if they want any chance of making the comeback, but the farther into the map we go, the quicker Carolina's chances slip away, and the closer Minnesota comes to an even match. Everybody nailing the stars. Everybody nails that alt pattern as well. Carolina quickly running out of time. Even now, we're going to need to see a double miss from Eves and Swick in the next 10-15 seconds. There goes Eves, but Hooper does miss again. That was a low combo. Score lead is going to start going back over, but time is quickly running out. Swick just doesn't find the miss that Carolina needs, and it's a miss from Zerkata. That it should seal it, and Minnesota are going to get the point back, even things up, and that was the break point they needed.
A very solid performance from Minnesota there. Did get the break point now. All they have to do is just win their last pick, and they should see themselves closer to victory. And they are the 9th seed going against the 6th seed, so this is a pretty stunning performance for both these players. Or, I mean, both these... Or for the Minnesota State. And yeah, and it looks like I have to gonna have to panic here since that's a long outro.
Yeah,
and
just slightly longer. We'd be here for another 3 minutes. I think that's not going to be the case. Now, this could go either way still. We've seen plenty of breakpoints in this match. I think, in fact, as many breakpoints as teams winning their own picks. So if either team gives up a breakpoint now, they're going to be in a pretty rough spot. And I feel like Minnesota has to go for that hidden 3. They've looked so good on the Hard Rock Precision. The hidden isn't quite as precise. CS6 rather than CS 7.8 is a little bit more manageable, but Carolina have really struggled with the precision, and I think it's most likely their best bet. Mind you, they did just win the alt map as well, so maybe they have a little bit more confidence to opt into one of those more aim control focused picks. You'd be looking at something like a Nomad 2, but I do feel like Hidden 3 is going to be their best bet here. And now we just need to update the score cheese for Minnesota. That was a hard-earned point on that on that map. Can't steal it away from him like that. It's gonna be the Fremont 4, yeah. This one is very interesting. This is a kind of a rhythmic swing aim control map. CS1 as well. It makes it a lot more playable on Hard Rock, but it's not as free as it sounds because of the spacing. Hard Rock, even though it's CS1, does genuinely add a fair bit of spacing to the aim control pattern, so I do expect to see no overmods. I think both teams going to be running their standard rosters, so that's going to be Swick on the Hard Rock, of course, along with Mate on the Hidden, and probably going to be Brooklyn James on the Nomad, and then we're going to see Whooper, Hard Rock, Rhythmic Nomad, and Will Cookie on the Hidden as well.
And looks like I restart the client here. It's not wanting to switch the song, so it's giving me a little bit here to freshen things up. But Nomad or Fremont 4, kind of an interesting pick. Not what I would have imagined for sure as one of their picks.
Expect either, but I don't dislike it. I think at this point, every map in the pool is at the very least a coin flip. Could very much go either way. There are no guaranteed picks. It's hard to even say that any picks left over are pretty heavily advantaged for either team. So we'll see if the free mod 4 works out for them, as I imagine we're going to get confirmation of our mods. Lillian in this time around for Minnesota. There we go. We've got the free mod 4 playing, and the good luck have funs in the chat. Minnesota have a chance to put themselves on match point.
Finally loading in here for the map. And looks like I think the mods are as expected. Actually, Swig going to hit on Hard Rock. I mean, it makes sense with the CS1, but kind of interesting though. But I can see this being the most over-modded map of all time, because Wilbur fans also go and hit in Hard Rock. But that's probably for the best, to make sure that you're not being you don't give up the mod advantage to the other team. But right now is advantage on side of Minnesota, both on combo at the least. But it looks like they have a heavy ACK lead, because they're actually down in FC and they still hold on to the lead. So very strong ACK lead, mainly due to Wilperfan having 92% and everyone else having above 95 for Minnesota. So once they hold on to that accuracy, they should hold on to the lead. But there's a break from Wilper here, and with no trades, the score advantage will heavily stay on the side of Minnesota and continue to grow from here on out. And yeah, of course, you see Lillian on Hard Rock, also Wilper hidden Hard Rock, Will Cook on hidden, and Rhythmic on the Hard Rock. And there goes a break from Mate, so combo lead back on side Carolina, but I don't think the score lead is going to go that quick to their side.
That's going to go very quick.
It's starting to chip up, but now it's...
That's only Swix holding the FC up against 2 on the side of Carolina, so they're far from out of the woods. Now, at the very least, Minnesota do have Swix holding, so if we see a miss from Rhythmic or Will Cookie, Swix is there, ready to capitalize, but cannot afford to miss. Rhythmic finds the miss that Minnesota needs. Mate trading with Hooperfan. There goes Will Cookie as well. A chase we've seen Swix do it so many times before in this match. Now has a chance to do it again, putting Minnesota on his back, putting on the absolute monstrous carry performance, and Twick just does not miss. Minnesota takes back over the score lead, secures the point, and other Minnesota players are going to be thanking Swick after that one. Has been on fire today.
Yeah, what? I mean, not surprising that we see a Swig absolutely carrying Minnesota. There is definitely one of the top players in the United States, so no surprise to see him standing on top of everyone here on the Fremont 4, and yeah, gets a 1.1 mil score on a Fremont map, which is actually pretty crazy, mainly due to the hidden Hard Rock combination there. And yeah, Minnesota now forcing Carolina to take them to TV. I don't know how they're gonna do it. I think they have some maps that they could do it with, but we'll see. Obviously, this has been a very back and forth match here, and yeah, nothing has been guaranteed for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, even with the Swig FC, that was still a relatively close map, all things considered. I have a feeling that Swig's combo is going to be at the very least top 3 scores on that map for the weekend, possibly even top score. Not sure if anybody's beaten that yet, but yeah, it doesn't feel like Carolina have any obvious picks. I actually think, as hesitant as they might be, because it can feel very random, the Nomad 1 Chicken Funny could be a solid pick for them. They do also have something like the Nomad, kind of like imagine a DT1, but Nomad. That's how I would describe this Nomad 4. And, you know, Carolina have looked good on some of the aim-focused picks. It's just the question. I think at this point, it's just a question of pick the map you feel the most consistent on and hope Swig doesn't pop off. That's always a possibility, and I don't think there's anything you can really pick at this stage that will take Swig out of the lobby. They're going to go for the Fremont one. This is the map. I mean, this is the map that we've been expecting. Oh, wait, this is from Carolina. Yeah, this is the map we were expecting from Minnesota. I mean, to be honest, at the start of the match, I would very much expect Fremont 1 to be a Carolina pick, but as the match developed and Minnesota dominated the DT3, I'm like, okay, maybe Minnesota could pick it. As it turns out, the pendulum has swung back in the other direction, and it's Carolina with the pick. And this is just a 4-minute consistency stream map, 200 BPM, and at the very end, you do have a bunch of 240 bursts, but honestly, they're so late into the map that they're very rarely have any influence on the outcome of the map. It really does come down to who can nail these streams, and I do suspect we are going to see, I mean, not the same mods as last time. This is one I would be very surprised to see over mods on. I imagine we're going to go back to our
minimal
free mod. Yeah, our free mod, what was it? The free mod two
yeah.
maps? Yeah, that's the one.
Swick Hidden,
And
Lily and Hard Rock mate, no mod, I believe. But
no, it's usually Swick Hard Rock made on the Hidden, and Lillian
yeah.
actually no mod. But they're a pretty flexible team. Obviously, Lillian can play the Hard Rock if mate isn't feeling up to the Hidden on this map, which is definitely possible.
Now, to be a little bit honest here, I can also see probably putting Swick on no mod because you kind of want that. I think you want that guaranteed FC from Swick, if I'm being honest. But because I think the flow in can definitely catch some hidden players off guard here. But we'll see what happens. Obviously, definitely a different map from the other free mods, so it might switch up, but it might also remain the same. Who knows? Might see, yeah, probably, might see Swick on the Hidden and Lily Hard Rock and Mate on no mod potentially. But I don't see things changing for Carolina. I can see, yeah, Will Cookie on Hidden, Wilper on Hard Rock, and Rhythmic on the no mod, which is the case here. We do see Lily on no mod, Mate on the Hidden. That means Swick goes Hard Rock. Let's see what happens here now.
Yeah, it all comes down to this. Minnesota have the chance to close this one out right now. Would be pretty big upset at the very least based on seeding. Carolina would love to bring this to a tiebreaker as Mate does find the first miss of this map, but this is a very lengthy one. There is so much combo to be gained with these streams. So if these players are comfortable, we could very easily see upwards of 1k combo. So there's going to be plenty of time for Mate to recover. Just going to be a slight lead for Carolina for now. And especially towards the end of this map, have to watch out for chain misses because if you miss one note on this map, especially on the streams, you're likely going to be missing 4 or 5. And that can tank your accuracy. We've seen it put a few players pretty far behind, but a good recovery from Mate. Rhythmic RS is going to be the next to miss, and with the recovery from Mate, that's going to put Minnesota back in the driver's seat into a bit of more of an aim section now. The score is going to go back over quite slowly, but it will go back over as long as we don't see any big misses from Minnesota. Carolina cannot afford to drop either of these two FCs. It would put them so far out of it. Whooper fan finds the next miss, but thankfully for them, Swick drops, trades it back, and notably finds a ton of 100s, ton of misses as well, something like 10 of them. So absolutely drops 3% accuracy on that one pattern, and that's going to keep Carolina in the lead despite the combo deficit. Minnesota need to make up this accuracy. Whooper fan finds a miss. That's going to be pretty inconsequential. There's a big one from Lillian right at the halfway mark too. That is the worst place you can miss. Now it's Mate trying to fend off both Will Cookie and Rhythmic, but Will Cookie looking so good on the hit and finally finds a miss, but geez, it's a full reset for Minnesota, and Rhythmic RS has a chance to bring this one to tiebreaker. Just needs to hold this combo. If we can see a 1.2k combo from Rhythmic RS, I think it'll put this map out of reach from Minnesota, but it could come down to the ending. This one is still only 150,000 points, and on a map like this that's so combo dense, it is not that much score.
Yeah, I mean, 160k on a 4-minute map is kind of makes this a little bit unattainable for Minnesota. And Rhythmic with still a 99.73. I highly doubt he's going to miss that easily if he's made it this far already. So, yeah, I think this is going to be for sure unreachable here for Minnesota for a comeback. And, yeah, we are looking at pretty sure we're going to tiebreaker on this one. 99% sure. Yeah, I've got a quarter of the map left. 250 or almost 300k in the lead for Carolina. And yeah, I think it's safe to say we are going to tiebreaker here. Oh my god, Rhythmic, no, on the all pattern of all things. Oh no, who put aim in here?
Don't worry. We still have yet to reach the 240 BPM burst section at the end. That will be, I mean, why not, right? Your consistency stream map, throw in like a solid 30 seconds of 240 BPM burst, because that's what every stream player loves in their consistency maps. And yeah, we're gonna have a tiebreaker. Minnesota fell behind early, but did a very good job of fighting back, clawing their way back into the match off the backs of some incredible scores from Swick. Found themselves on match point, but couldn't quite close things out, and now they find themselves facing off against Carolina in this tiebreaker. As I mean, some really, really good scores from Carolina. Multiple players reaching the 1K combo mark and 300,000 point gap by the end.
And yeah, that marks it there, ladies and gentlemen. 5-5. This will be going to tiebreaker, undoubtedly. And yeah, we're gonna get the shortest tiebreaker we've seen all term at 6 minutes and 27 seconds. And honestly, don't know what to expect from this type of map here, if I'm being quite honest. Oh my god, it's 127 BPM, so low. Is this an ult map?
Not quite. This is probably one of the most awkward tiebreakers you have ever seen in your life. There's lots of very slow kind of linear aim patterns. You've got tons of weird slider aim. You've got some 255 BPM bursts thrown in for good measure, because why not? But honestly, this map tests a lot of different skill sets, but it tests every skill set in the most awkward way imaginable. This feels like a map that tends to favor the players that are good at reading, that are good at, oftentimes that are good at hidden things like the low AR Nomad, even though it is AR 9.3. And that is something we've seen Carolina do very well on. Mind you, Will Cookie especially is a player that has looked solid on the low AR hidden. We saw Minnesota struggle a little bit more. Mind you, this is not a low AR map. It's just incredibly, incredibly awkward. I would give Carolina the slight edge, but it's far from a guarantee. It is definitely a possibility that Swick just absolutely pops off and carries Minnesota to a victory, as we've seen so many times.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens here. And because we go to TV, we're definitely gonna be missing out on some of the 2 UTC match that we have going on here.
That's okay. 2 UTC match can wait. We've got a tiebreaker to take care of. That match, Connecticut versus Massachusetts, is ongoing, but we'll switch over to that after the tiebreaker. First, we have 6-minute tiebreaker to be played between Carolina and Minnesota. Seed 6 versus Seed 19. 85% of people predicted Carolina to win this match, and Minnesota has a chance to pull off a massive upset. It's a pretty slow start to the tiebreaker, but it picks up pretty quickly, and once it does get into the really awkward aim, it doesn't really slow down. So there are lots of places to miss on this map. Honestly, if you've put the time in and grinded this map, we definitely could see some pretty high combos on it. Mate, LeBrooklyn James, Swick, unsurprisingly, going to be the 3 for Minnesota, facing off against Will Cookie, Rhythmic RS, and Whooperfan expected rosters for both teams. And we should be getting into the meat and potatoes of this map in due time. Rhythmic RS misses on nothing, but thankfully it's a 6-minute map and it's not going to matter.
Yeah, interesting enough, we do see hidden mods on both Will Cookie, who I kind of expected to go hidden. Did I expect Mate to go hidden on this TB? I kind of expected a full no mod roster for Minnesota, but hopefully that extra 0.04% hopefully pays off for them. And as we saw a little diff spike pattern there, LeBrook James gonna find a break. So we'll be combo advantage going to the side of Carolina, but still 6.5 minute map. So probably not gonna be that detrimental there, but as long as the other 2 FCs hold on here, it shouldn't be too big of a loss. And as we get to some of these bursty patterns, 1/3 bursts here. Looks like all the FCs, all the players are hitting them quite well, and it looks like it is an ACK advantage for Carolina. So top of the combo, they do have the ACK advantage, but speaking of combo advantage gone, as Whooper will be funding a break, and with that, it's 2 FCs versus 1, and right now Minnesota has Carolina's future in their hands. look at a potential upset, and it looks like LeBron James is going to trade that FC there, and a full triple wipe from Carolina, and Mate and Swick hold on to both their FCs, and it's looking like a disaster here in Carolina, unfortunately. And Mate does find a break, so it does give Carolina a little bit of breathing room, but Swick still holds on to FC. And as we've seen time and time again for Minnesota, Swick is just the absolute carry player of all time here. Match cost gonna be looking really good for him at the end of this match, regardless if they win this TB or not. He's definitely gonna be the top player of this match, if you ask me. Still holding on to FC. 1K in combo, and we're about to hit the halfway point. I think if he FC's up until the last third, I think it might be a guaranteed point here for Minnesota. It's about 50K and counting right now. And I think if we get to 150K mark, it might be as good as it is here for Minnesota, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, as long as Vic doesn't miss, Carolina just don't have a chance back in this one. The door wide open for Minnesota to pull off the upset, and Swick has the chance to slam it shut. We do see a miss from LeBron James, but honestly, all eyes on Swick. Pretty much nothing else matters right now. I mean, it would take some insane recovery combos from Carolina to even come close to matching Swick's combo here, and especially with Mate on the 600 combo, not going to help. Swick nails that slider pattern, does claim Will Cookie and LeBron James. It claims Mate as well, but again, Swick holds. Swick, the last one standing for Minnesota, but Swick is all they need. It's 120,000 points. On a map this long with this little density, 120,000 points is pretty massive. Now, there is a world where Swick can FC, and I think Minnesota could still lose if we see, you know, LeBron James and Mate continuously dropping their combos, and Carolina can get all three players back up to that 700, 800 combo mark. They're doing their best. You know, that lead is steady, but it's not shrinking nearly as fast as they would like. In fact, it is sitting right around 112, 113,000, but a miss from Swick would be devastating, Cheese, because Swick has no support, hasn't needed it thus far, but so much pressure on Swick. Any miss could very well spell the end for Minnesota. I mean, when you have zero support, 98,000 points doesn't hold for long, and already Minnesota has lost their score lead by about 40,000 points. A miss from Wooperfan is going to stem the bleeding a little bit, but Swick needs some support. 2,000 combo now for Swick, showing no signs of slowing down. Rhythmic RS and Will Cookie getting back up there with their combos, but they really need Wooperfan to hold. Their progress has grinded to a halt. Rhythmic RS, Wooperfan find misses for Carolina, and Swick is unfazed in the blue corner, dragging Minnesota to victory. And those misses, Cheese, I think, are going to spell the end for Carolina's run in USC. There goes Swick, actually, finally finds the miss. Just 700 combo for Will Cookie. But
Will Cookie does have combo. Will be enough. He has to at least get to 2,000 combo, and I don't know if this... Okay,
that'll
never mind. That will do it. That will be the nail in the coffin there for Carolina. Minnesota... You know, against all odds, you know, 15% of Pick'em said that Carolina is going to win this quite drastically. And it looks like Minnesota has turned all the deniers into believers. And they will be winning this one, going to losers semifinals against all odds. All thanks to Swick. And yeah, unfortunately, I think for Minnesota, though, that, you know, relying on Swick can only get them so far because they will have much tougher competition with a lot higher skill cap teams. So it's going to start to be a little bit of a more team effort going into next weekend, but they can at least enjoy this win for this weekend.
Yeah, enjoy this win. They will. That was an otherworldly performance on from Swick. I mean, I think probably the best single match performance from any player we've seen this tournament. I think Solo carried 3, maybe 4 different maps this match, and like you said, big upset here for Minnesota. Carolina, the 6th seed, will be eliminated in the quarterfinals. Minnesota are going to move on to face the loser of Virginia and Oregon. So While they have a tough match ahead, at least in terms of seeding, assuming Virginia does manage to win that match, then it might not actually be tougher. But I believe we've now got our 2 UTC match ongoing. So we had two UTC matches. Virginia versus Oregon has been delayed until 4:30 UTC, so that's going to be later. But we should have Connecticut and Massachusetts currently going on. So one last congratulations to Minnesota. I think we might as well keep that on the B stream since everybody's here already.